question to you would be, if we're looking at doing something with an elementary school in April, should we also consider doing, at the very least, the addition of Timberland? And in addition to that, and Bruce, you're taking a deep breath when I say that, is that?
Oh no, that was our recommendation. That was our recommendation based on the numbers that we were seeing, looking at the capacities of the building. When we were, I guess, either last board meeting or one prior, if you were to pick the critical projects to handle student capacity at the critical areas, New Elementary School and Timberland High School were the two that come to the top in terms of priority. Obviously, it's all dependent on what you want to put on the ballot in terms of funding and size. At the time, we were assuming that the larger list was still going to be on the April ballot, but we were looking at how to expend those excess bond funds as to whether or not to authorize the design team to start on that prior to the election date. Those two projects, I think, in his report, pretty much confirmed what we thought we already understood as critical needs.
I told everybody and they were putting it on in April, at least for the elementary school. And what do you feel about the addition on Timberland High School? I'm thinking Summers Road for the elementary school and Timberland High School as an addition. And that would be on April's addition. We can always ask in November if there's an increase, but according to projections, there, you may be able to get by with just one elementary school. What are your feelings on the Timberland addition?
Well, this kind of relates to the next question, which will be the discussion of remaining bonds. I guess I get a little bit frustrated because, in essence, what we're looking at is our capital improvements plan. So we're what unfortunately we're having to do is we're having to piecemeal decisions instead of having everything in front of us and doing this on an annual basis and being able to determine what the critical priorities are, and we're having to do it. And so I really think this ought to be, the board needs to spend some time looking at the expenditures that are here, maybe more than that. I'll talk about the other portion here, but we may decide to include some technology expenditures in here. I don't know that.
Can I interrupt you just for a moment, Pat? I don't classify, I haven't classified the Timberland addition as capital improvement. I call this, basically a capital project that's going to be done with a new bond money. But it's certainly not one of our improvements, if you will. And I appreciate what your comments are here, and I want to discuss that because we do have a list menu of a bunch of capital improvements. But I'd like to keep those separate because I don't see
to existing facilities or new facilities?
To existing facilities.
Okay, I'm not differentiating between the two. I mean, all is capital, but that's, I can understand.
Well, you said improvements, and I'm looking at, providing classrooms for kids, so I don't see that as an improvement. I see that as an addition or capital expense, and it would be out of the new bond money.
Okay.
And I think what you're referring to is the spending of our previous leftover bond.
Well, it all blends together.
Well, I realize that. The critical task right now is we hear everybody said that they think that we need to put an elementary school on the April ballot. And now the question is, should that also include the addition to Timberland on the April ballot?
Yeah, I'd say maybe more than that, in my opinion.
Okay, but at least that. Okay, let's just start there. At least the addition to Timberland on the April ballot.
Is that what this number here is?
I'm wondering if Timberland High addition is 60.
Is that just an addition?
That's just addition. That's that other wing on Timberland.
See, I don't know what these numbers mean. It's part of the problem. I don't know what's behind them.
So that says Timberland High addition.
Yeah, I think it ought to be at least that.
Yeah, my recommendation would be if, and it sounds like we want to do April, that very soon, we need to work on very carefully figuring out what needs to go on there. And I'm not sure tonight, having this discussion would be the time to figure out that
All
exact
I'm
list.
trying to accomplish tonight is to have some kind of a directive, not only for Dr. Adams, but for Dr. Adams to issue to the architect so that he can begin tomorrow on these documents that are going to be holding us up come April. That's all. So if we're all in agreement, at least to get the elementary school and the Timberland addition, plus maybe more, but at least those, if we can agree on that tonight, then we can have some further conversation as to the amount that we want to go out for a bond issue in April, and that amount will be dependent on which of these things here, Pat, that we ought to do. Does that sound reasonable?
Do we have any architectural study or building in Mexico Road at this time?
Yes, you can answer that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, sir.
Do we have any architecturals or buildings on Mexico Road at this time?
We just prepared the building package, or the grading package, I'm sorry, that's been done. We had a plan on starting it, and we were assuming that it's based on using the prototype school. Is that what you're asking? Okay.
But you haven't started it, right?
Well, we may have started on it briefly, but it would be like starting basically, from scratch, just like we would